You're doing this properly, Gretch.
Shut up, I'm already recording. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode, I don't even know, we stopped counting. We're close to 100. We haven't done this in a while, Luke, so we've been on hiatus for a while, but I lost count.
Rusty.
I just want to let you know, I did come prepared. I've got my Batman shaker. Can you see that?
Oh, bad. That's good.
And my Thanos bobblehead.
Oh, nice. I haven't got anything to hand now. I've got a Nerf gun that I use for my dog. So
You shoot your dog with a Nerf gun?
well, I'm sick of sitting there throwing a ball and fucking up my shoulder, so I bought a little gun that just fires the ball for me. So it's massively lazy, but it's good.
No, that actually makes sense. All right, let's get straight into it, mate. Like I said, it's been a long time since recording. You're 2 weeks out from Tampa. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Is it Tampa? Yeah.
Tampa. Yeah.
There's a lot happening in the bodybuilding world. So I'll start off with the most important topic. Avengers Endgame. What did you think about it?
That is the most important. You're right. I loved it. And loads of people have said, "Oh, there's all these plot holes of the time travel." If you actually think about it, I don't see any plot holes really.
No, there's no plot holes, but I did like the one before it better.
I thought Infinity War was more entertaining.
Yeah.
Infinity and Endgame was just like fuck. And I tell you what, I preferred more than both of them was the new Spider-Man.
I haven't
For
seen
some
it
reason,
yet.
I don't even really like Spider-Man.
I haven't seen it
I
yet.
loved.
Jimmy, I'm not going to get your opinion on movies. You just be quiet because you were a big fan. You were a big fan of Suicide Squad. So we're not even going to talk about Jimmy's taste in movies.
I'll pretend I didn't hear that.
Gally, kick things off, mate. You've got most of the questions, and we'll roll with it from there.
Yeah, unlike the other guys, Luke, I do a bit of background study on what's been going on with you. Obviously, you're 2 weeks out from Tampa, which is pretty exciting. So you've just you obviously just told people you were doing that before, and we saw you put a photo up a couple of days ago with Milos, so doing a bit of posing.
Yeah.
And you've improved again since the Arnold's in February, like dramatically improved. Mm. And we've got our own Facebook page, and we put that photo up, and we asked people's opinions with you versus Dexter. A lot of people have actually got you placing ahead of Dexter in this comp.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I keep hearing this, and it's mental to even think that that's something that people are considering. So,
How you feeling? How you feeling going into it?
I feel great. I've surpassed my condition from the Arnold probably about a week or so ago. So I know I'm going to be better than I was in the Arnold, and I'll have more muscle in the right places as well. I think I can beat Dexter. If I didn't, I wouldn't do the show. So
what's the weight difference?
So a week out from the Arnold, I was 257, and I was 266 this morning.
Have you done anything different?
No, just no, nothing. I took some time off after the last shows. I think I took about 6 weeks where I just ate shit. Well, no, I didn't eat loads of shit. I just if I ate anything, it would just be for taste. And then I barely trained, and I just let my hair down. I thought I'm just gonna rest. And every time I seem to do that and then get back into training, my body just responds, and my body went from looking shredded to looking terrible to looking really good again really quickly. So I think it's just my body's just in a nice position where, getting back in condition was really, really easy this time. And
Is this the show? Did you have to do this show to get more points?
I didn't have to do it. I probably still don't have to do it. I mean, I know Lucas is beating me on points, and so is Akeem, and I'm in third place with Cedric. Cedric's not doing it. It's really unlikely now that anyone's going to knock me off that third spot. But I want to do it anyway because, the Olympia's massively wide open this year. And I'm not saying I'm a front runner or anything, but I think if I go and do Tampa and I build up a lot of hype going into it, it's a good decision in terms of like hype and business, it's and because Redcon are there, I can do a load of stuff with them. I can fulfill some contractual obligations with like filming and content and whatever they want to do. And it's my birthday on the day of the show, so it's a nice little
Happy birthday for them.
Which is the only way for me to eat any birthday cake would be to compete and have the food after.
It's also going to help a lot with momentum leading into the Olympia too. Do you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
How do you think you're going to go in that time in between? So how many weeks are we away from the Olympia now?
It's 7 from the Olympia.
So you're 5 weeks, yeah. What are your plans in between then, or is it going to be more trial and error and see what happens after the show?
I will just do Tampa, hopefully do as well as I hope I'm going to do, and then I'll just fly home a few days later, and then we'll just get back stuck in. So literally the morning after the show, I'm straight back on the prep. I'm not.
Are you going to stay in Tampa in the States, or are you going to head back to England?
I'm going to head home. I'm going to head here. I was contemplating actually going out and flying out this Sunday and just staying in the States, but then I just thought that's a shit idea because I like it here. Or everything I need's here. My dog's here. The gym I train at's here, and I'm a bit of a creature of habit. So I like to be in my own environment as like much as possible.
Yeah. Hey, if I know you got obviously a lot of friends. I live in Dallas now as well. So if you ever need a place to stay, come and stay there with me. And
he says that he was in Dallas for a week and he's been stuck in Australia for the last 3 months.
I'm stuck in Australia at the moment, waiting for my work visa to be approved. It's unbelievable.
That's what happens when you have an extensive criminal record here in Australia. They plus they can't recognise him on his passport because of all the Botox he's had. Let's just say
these are my best mates, Luke.
That's funny.
Let's just say you beat Dexter. What's that going to do for your confidence leading into the Olympia?
It'll be huge, wouldn't it? I mean, I would have. It'll be huge. And I don't think it's out of the question to be able to beat him. Because I was thinking, if you're going to beat these guys, you need to do something that they're not doing, or you need to look a certain way. Because you can't beat Dexter looking like Dexter. So that's why I think everyone had a problem with Phil Heath, because you can't beat Phil Heath by outdoing what Phil Heath does. You have to do something different. And that's why I think Kai never quite beat him, because he was too similar. I think I think that's why like Dorian beat all those like the guys like Flex and Kevin Lavroni and things like back in the day, because Dorian was just completely different.
So in saying that, how are you going to beat Dexter?
I'm about twice his size, and I think if we match condition, I'm just as balanced as he is. Maybe a little bit more so now, because we haven't seen him in a while. And the last time couple of times he's competed, he's starting to show a little bit of age in his legs. They're quite down. He's not quite as hard in certain areas as he used to be. So that's just an age thing. That's not a Dexter thing. And I'm just a lot bigger, and I think I'm just as complete, if not more complete, just because he's older now. So I think if the conditions are the same, I think I can beat him.
Those pictures that, like I said, that you had with Milos, that one doing the side relaxed.
Yeah.
Over the past probably year, I reckon you've added much more dense muscle too, and it's like hanging muscle as well. And you're known for your strength. Like your strength is just absolutely crazy. So again, it's kind of like referring it back to the 90s bodybuilding. Like that, you've got that. You're getting more and more of that look. So,
especially from the front. Your front shots, Luke, from your front double bicep to your lat spread to your standing front relaxed, are just ridiculous to look at. Like, have you had much feedback on that?
No, I mean, it's like people keep saying, like, what are you doing? Why are you improving so much? And I'm not doing any. I think the only thing I'm doing is I'm not slacking on any aspect of anything. I'm just doing what Chris tells me to do. I just do it. The only thing I have in my control is my training, and that's the bit I enjoy the most. So I put everything into my training, and this is just what's happened. I think it's because a lot of people these days, I mean, I don't know how true it is, but a lot of people think it's all drugs and fucking this, that, and the other. And for me, it isn't. It never has been that way. Especially now I'm working with Chris. He's so conservative. So the only thing that I have to rely on to make sure I get better is my training. So I've been like,
I think he's saying that, and it's not so much about the drugs and more about the training emulates the reason why you're bringing that old school look. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
And that's something that you hear everyone fucking moaning all the time. They're like, the early 2000s, late 90s, they were the best physiques. And it's like, I actually do agree with you. So why is no one doing what they were doing?
Yeah. Exactly right.
So if there's this like big gap, in the market now on that Olympia stage of that kind of that look that no one else has, and I'm trying to fill that gap. I'm not going to say I have yet, but I think eventually I can fill that kind of gap and bringing back a bit of the older look, that denser, the look you can only get from training. You know, the whole Dorian, Ronnie, freak, thick muscle that you can only get from training. So I think that's the kind of thing that's the gap I want to fill, if that makes sense.
Are you still only training 4 days a week, Luke?
I'm doing 5 at the moment. I was doing 4. I always do 4 in the off season, then I just bump up. For the Arnold, I did 6 days a week, and this time I did 5 because my training's been that much better. I needed the extra day off. I think it's helped a lot.
How long do your sessions usually last?
Hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours for legs, just because the recovery is just a joke in between sets for legs. So.
And how much cardio has Chris got you on at the moment?
30 minutes on a training day in the morning and 40 minutes on a rest day. So
okay, and it's any type of cardio?
And this prep I haven't had, he hasn't really given me any days off cardio. He'll give me a high day, but I still do cardio on those days.
Is that high intensity or is it just on the step up?
No. His instructions are. He said just do it as hard as if you were walking around the supermarket. Just plod along. You make it as easy as possible. So I just go on like setting number 2 on the Stairmaster and just plod along for 30 minutes.
Explain to people, because a lot of people, there's always this whole debate on whether or not cardio is important, if it's necessary, if it's not necessary. Mm-hmm. That in a lot of people's eyes seems pointless. What do you think the reasoning behind doing low intensity cardio to the point where you're just walking around the block? What do you think the reasoning behind that is, and how is it going to benefit you?
I mean, okay, so if you're not a big pro bodybuilder, doing that is not going to do anything for you, because I don't think you're going to burn enough calories. Because the way I look at it, and I'm sure Chris does as well, is cardio is just a tool to burn calories. The bigger you are, the more you move, the more calories you're burning. But if I were to do higher intensity training, it's going to rob me of my training recovery, and I'm not. So if I do really high, like hit cardio, it's gonna fuck me, and I'm not gonna be able to recover from training. It's gonna impact my training. So by doing the lower intensity, I can still recover, I can still burn calories, and it enables me to still train really hard. And the training really hard is what's making the difference the most. So it's a kind of a balancing act.
Yeah.
You know, I've done preps in the past where I've done the hit cardio, and it's just ruined my look and ruined my training. So
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Gretch.
This is a good segue actually then, Luke, because now we're talking about prep coaches. Obviously, we've just had Bonac and Neil going at it. A bit of controversy there. And before we started recording, you were talking about your prep coach, Chris Aceto, who we all admire over here as well. And just fill us in how you felt about that. And did you have any idea of the amount some of these guys are paying, like 20% of what they're...
I still don't... I mean, I did the podcast with Fuad, and I still don't really know the full story because I don't really care. So I haven't really looked into it. I think it's just drama for the sake of drama. I think William shouldn't have done that video. He's a fucking baby. What are you doing? Just leave it alone. But at the same time, a lot of these coaches are trying to make an income. It's like a business. And it's a business decision. And a lot of the time, a lot of these athletes take it personally. But I've heard from different people that Neil doesn't charge William a rate. He only asks for the incentivized bonuses. Oh,
get that Nerf gun. Shoot it with a Nerf gun.
You want to die? And then, so I've heard that. So if that's true, then that's a totally different argument. But if he's getting paid for his job, or if a coach is being paid, which is what Chris's ideas are. You know, if Chris will say to me, "You're paying me for a service, and I do the service to the best of my ability. That's it." So it's a weird one, because I can see it from both perspectives, because you have to kind of be able to empathize. From a business perspective, I don't blame Neil one bit, but I'm not sure. The whole thing's fucking stupid.
40% of prize money though is in my opinion. William should have looked at that and said, "Hey, that's a bit excessive. Let's negotiate." I
agree, but I've also heard he did say that, and Neil was like, "No, you signed it. That's it." Which again is fair, because it's business at the end of the day.
Well, at the beginning, it's like, what if William didn't have the money to pay Neil up front?
Yeah.
So if you're gonna invest in something, obviously you're gonna want a better return, and you're gonna look at it from that side of the group.
Yeah.
So tell us then, Luke, because you told us before the show, so our listeners can hear. What does Chris charge you?
Chris just charges me a yearly rate. That's it. He just charges me one off, and I think it's about. I think it depends. I think he charged me $3,000 something this year, for the whole year, and that's it.
Yeah. Shit.
I'm telling you, if I won the Olympia, I would give Chris a bonus. I would consider that a tip. I would just, as like a thank you for everything you've done. But I don't think it should be written into contracts now. It's like, it's like, I don't, if you go to a fucking mechanic and ask him to fix your car and the car works, there shouldn't be a bonus involved. You've done your job. I think that's what coaches need to do. It's like, you just charge what you charge, and then that's it. Unless they have an agreement with the athlete and that's between them, but then this is not my whole problem with is the way that William went about this. It's just he went about it like a little baby, and the whole thing was embarrassing, to be fair.
Well, I didn't agree with the show in the apartment about how he lives. That was a bit.
That just shows that he's messy.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with your house, mate. It's just a shithole. Just give it a clean.
Hey, let's move on.
Where you live, go live somewhere else. What do you mean?
Look at this shit out I live in. It's like, yeah, it doesn't. You need to mop it. Otherwise, give it a bit of a cleaner, like a paint. It'll be absolutely fine.
Well, let's move on. So the bodybuilding world has been rocked with a lot of controversy lately, predominantly around the rape allegations with Shawn Rhoden. Now, we all know Shawn personally, and we're not going to go into the details of who he thinks innocent or guilty or anything like that, because it's obviously a sensitive topic for those involved and for females out there who may have had similar experiences and so forth. So, but what we do want to know, what is it? How has it impacted you as a pro bodybuilder in your lead up to the Olympia? Has it impacted you in any way, or
no, not at all?
Yeah,
not even remotely.
Yeah. So what about your lead up to the Olympia? So obviously it's knocked him off the top perch, knowing that he can't win. Has it made you hungrier knowing that it's a much more open playing field?
I would be lying if I said it wasn't. When I first heard the news, the first thing I thought was, there's an extra space in the Olympia available. that was my first thought. Because I know Shawn as well, and it does seem a little out of character to do that.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to talk about it, but yeah, I mean, there's no Rami, there's no Phil, there's no Cedric, and there's no Rhoden. So there's 4 spots there.
Kai won't, will he? Kai won't do it.
Yeah, Kai's not doing it. I mean, Kai won't do it. No, I mean, no. I'd be very, very surprised. I mean, the only person you've got to worry about is Hardy Chupan, but that's another. I mean, will he do 212 or will he do the Open?
What about Diacho?
Surely do 212.
Yeah, I think he'll do 212.
I don't like Hardy's physique to be. And this is me. Like, he's a freak. But up there on stage, I think he's not going to place high.
Do you know what it is with Hardy? Like, I think I agree with you that I don't really like his physique. But there's something, he has a detail and condition that not a lot of guys have.
Yeah.
It's very impressive. Like, quite old school, hard, separated, real muscle.
And he's not the best poser either.
No, he's got really small arms apart from in his front double, which is really odd.
That's right. Yeah, so his front relaxed pose is odd looking. Yeah.
Have you seen him in person?
No.
Do you think it's a different look? Like he'd look way different in person as opposed to pictures. Yeah, do you think so?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah.
I'm only saying that because from looking at photos to then looking at him in a video, huge difference. So if you go by that comparison, looking into a video into real life,
I don't know. A lot of people have said at Vancouver in real life he was just ridiculously good, like way better than the picture show. So I don't know. I mean, one thing that always jumps at me of Hardy, if I ever seen like photo shoot images of him, he doesn't look like he has insane legs. They look good. And then on stage, you look at his quads, and you're like, what the fuck? But that just kind of reinforces your point. Pictures versus stage pictures versus being there in person and seeing it. It's I don't know.
Do you look down on people without calves?
Do
you look down on people without calves?
Yeah, I just think they're all beneath me. I'm just like, I don't socialize with people with no calves.
If Jimmy has one asset, it's his calves. That's why he brings that up. Yeah, he's got pro life.
People always say to me, "What do you do for calves?" Absolutely nothing. I barely train them anymore. I think it's just I used to train the shit out of them, and they grew. And now I kind of do a little bit here and there just for my ankle flexibility, and that's it.
Have you always been that insanely strong, or is it something that's just happened over time?
Strength was there right at the beginning for some lifts. My pressing was terrible the first time I ever tried to train. But I remember the first day I ever trained, when I went to a gym, I deadlifted 4 plates aside. I just didn't really know what it was, and I just picked it up. And my friends were like, "What? Wait, what the fuck?" And I was just like, "What was that heavy? I don't know." So
how do you... Actually, you don't deal with it, but what do you think of those pathetic trolls that happen just write shit every time you put something up of lifting, which to us is perfectly fine?
It's funny. It's funny now because originally, so if I use the 200-pound dumbbells, because Ronnie's so famous for it, they'd always be like, "Well, Ronnie did 12," but it's like, I'm not Ronnie fucking Coleman. So now I've made a joke about it, and now everyone's kind of jumped on that, and now everyone's having more fun with it, and it's kind of like. I don't know. I feel like if you make a joke about yourself, or there's something you know is wrong, and you make a joke of it first, it kind of diffuses. No one else can then say it. So I've just kind of made the joke myself, and now all the trolls are like, "Ah, fuck, we got nothing to say now."
We've got nothing to say.
So I've got a personal question. Whenever you go and watch shows and they ask you to present a trophy, do you always take your shirt off just to take the spotlight away from the winner?
Only if it's Nathan D'Asher. That was quite funny. They were like, "Do you want to give the first place trophy out to Nathan?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." And I went to grab, because he got given a sword. I went to grab the sword, and they were like, "You're not going anywhere near him with a sword."
So was that feud with Nathan D'Asher? Was that legit, or was that all WWE style?
Well, I mean, we're not friends, but we don't hate each other really. I mean, we've actually had some of the same sponsors in the past and spent time with each other. I think what it was with Nathan and I, it wasn't so much him and I not liking each other. It was more everyone else just blowing things up to the point where it looks like we hate each other. I mean, when we're on stage, I'm going to kick his ass, and he knows that. Otherwise, he wouldn't be bitching so much. But afterwards, we'll go out for a beer together and just be like, cool. But
I just think you just have a problem with pro bodybuilders named Nathan.
Yeah.
Do you even remember that reference?
No. Oh yes, I do. Yeah, if you're a pro Nathan, we're not friends.
Oh, golly, go.
This be good. Hey, on that subject, is Nathan in the Olympia after what just happened recently?
I've heard so. I mean, I don't know. I only know what I guess you know, because I've seen it on like social media. And he made a post saying he's still doing it.
Fill everyone in for people that don't know, because a lot of people watching this might not even know.
So he's been up for some drug allegation charges that have been going on for a year now, and he had a court date I think it was this week actually, on the 22nd, and I think he pleaded guilty for some distribution of steroids in this country. But then I'm not sure on the details, but I think he's been given bail or something, and he's and I think the investigation is ongoing for the other offences he's being looked at for. That's not good. He has got previous on his record. So I mean, I don't know. He said he's still doing the Olympia, so I guess he has a way around it. I've also heard, again, I don't know how true this is, that he has a Kuwaiti passport, so he can actually go to the US on that instead. So I'm not sure.
Going back on the Shawn Rhoden.
Best.
Going back on the Shawn Rhoden topic just briefly, do you think the Pro League did the right thing by not allowing him to compete at this Olympia? Do you think it would have been bad for the brand?
It wasn't Pro League. It was yeah. I think they were kind of appeasing the fans. It's like it's so sensitive with women and women's rights and everything these days. I think they just made a business decision, and they did stipulate on the press release. They said if he's found guilty, we'll let him back. But whilst these allegations are going on, we can't let him compete. So I kind of get it. They went about it wrong, I think.
Like you said, it's a sensitive topic. It was probably a lot of umming and ahhing.
That's a really difficult decision to make.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it, but I can kind of see why from a business perspective. Because if they'd let him compete, there would have been a big uproar from a lot of the public. Yeah. You're letting a rapist compete, even though he's not, as far as we know so far. The public like to jump on any negativity and just squeeze the shit out.
Definitely a PR stunt.
Yeah, but there's a lot like guilty until proven innocent type scenario in this.
There is, yeah. So I mean, from a business perspective, I can kind of get why they did it, but I still think it's a bit. I mean, I know they would have rather seen him up there defending his title than not being there.
Yeah.
But I still think, I still can kind of get it. So yeah,
I get it in a way, Gretz, because say if the trial was done fast and they let him compete and then he was found guilty straight after the Olympia, it doesn't look good for anyone either. So it's such a hard decision.
Yeah, so they're covering any possible eventuality. So if he's found guilty, they've made the right decision. Yeah. If he's found not guilty, they can just say, "Yep, you're welcome back," as they said they would. So
I wonder if I don't want to keep going on the topic, but I wonder if this is a general conversation. If he is found innocent, whether or not he can sue for his potential winnings of the Olympia, because he's obviously a front runner. He's current Mr. Olympia.
That's a good point. I don't know any of the legal aspects, but maybe.
I don't know.
I'll tell you what, his lawyer's very good. Rick Collins has been around for the last 25 years. Yeah. He's got the best.
Nathan needs Rick Collins as well.
So that's see that's Rick Collins is like the Callum of Australia. So any bodybuilder that gets in trouble goes to the one guy overseas.
Yeah.
All right, so I know what your answer is going to be. I know that you're going to say that you're competing at the Olympia to win the Olympia, but where do you realistically see yourself placing now with so many guys dropping off?
So let's pretend I'm at 100%, everyone else is at 100%. Fourth.
Yeah, and what was your placing last year?
I haven't done it before.
Oh, you haven't done it last year. That's right. Yeah.
So who do you put yourself behind then, Luke?
Brandon Curry. I don't think I can beat him yet. Bonac. He's got no coach now, so he might look shit. But if he's at his best, I don't think I can beat him just yet. And I don't think I can beat Rulli at his best just yet either. Some people think I can. I don't know if I can or not. So that's me kind of playing it safe by saying fourth. I don't like saying it because it sounds like I'm being really cocky because I haven't even won a show yet. But I'm just going by what I did at the Arnold and what I've seen from these guys. So that's all I can go off. And I know I'm better now than I was at the Arnold. And I think Chris is going to be there in Tampa and he's going to be there at the Olympia to peak me. And I know a fully peaked, ready to rock me versus everyone else. I think I can place at least in the top 5.
I think it's pretty safe to say that you've been the most improved pro bodybuilder over the last. And it's not saying like you were the retarded kid playing soccer that couldn't kick a ball at the beginning of the year. I'm talking about you've improved ridiculously from show to show. So it's pretty safe to assume that you're going to place pretty high, judging by your competitive record now and how you've improved show to show.
I hope so. I'm definitely doing all the work I can. I'm doing everything I can to make sure I'm giving my best. The absolute goal is top 6. Well, actually top 5, just so I've qualified for next year. That's the.
Will you have the year off if you do that?
Yeah, I'd probably just focus on just the Olympia next year, and I've already kind of mapped out potential scenarios. So, like, if I don't get the results I want, what are my plans? And if I do get the result I want and I don't compete next year, I have to kind of think about, well, what am I going to do in the meantime in terms of not staying relevant, but I need to do, because Redcon do a lot of content with me. So if I'm off season for a majority of next year, I've got to think of something that's interesting to keep that momentum going and to keep people interested. So I need to
like a dating show, maybe?
A dating show.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
That'd be all right, like a bodybuilding dating show.
It's like blind date. Or just like speed dating, and it's just loads of hot women, and I just go and talk to them for 30 seconds.
You just line up bikini competitors, the top 10 of the Olympia, maybe that are single, and then just sit you with them all.
I like that. That's a fucking good idea.
Jimmy's
how is Tinder going? That's the biggest take we've taken out of the show with Fuad. You and your Tinder escapades.
The Tinder? Oh, my Tinders. I've given up with that, man. It's just shit. I'm pretty sure either I'm really ugly or they're all bots. And I can't decide which one it is. I don't want to find out, so I'm just going to Tinder out.
Well, if the second message they're asking you for your credit card details, it's pretty safe to assume they're a bot. How have you handled with, like, you obviously, in your affiliation with Redcon now has probably boosted your popularity quite a bit over the last couple of years. Over the last year. I've only really been with them for over a year now. How have you handled all the extra exposure? And obviously, you walk down the street and a lot more people are going to recognise you now. And
I think, I don't know of a single bodybuilder at the moment doing as much content as we are, because I'm doing stuff for my own site. I'm doing stuff for I Am Rebel. We've got a series, and I think I've got 3 separate video series going on with Redcon at the same time. So every week for the last kind of 8 weeks, there's been about 2 or 3 videos out per week about me and Fuad's podcast. My only concern is people are going to get fucking sick of me real soon. That's what I'm worried about. But so after the Olympia, I will take a break from all of that just because I don't want to like over egg the pudding. But yeah, it's been amazing. It's been brilliant. So I think it's my own fault because every time anyone asks me to do something, I'm just like, yeah, I'll do that. And also the other really cool thing is all of my videos seem to be getting a lot of hits and they seem to be very popular. And even the comment section is about 90% positive feedback. which is pretty rare for YouTube. So far, so good. I'll keep milking it until everyone gets it.
I was going to say, I'll just keep doing it, mate, because it's actually very funny, but obviously informative as well. And I know Jimmy and I talk about it all the time, saying when we've seen your latest stuff go up. So, hey, I've got a couple of names here I want to throw at you, and just give me your honest opinion straight up.
Okay.
Right? Nick Trevelli.
Don't have a problem with him. I think he's a bit of a knob sometimes, but I think that's his. I think he does that on purpose. I think he acts like a dick on purpose. I don't think he is a dick, actually. I just think he plays that role very well. Just like Boston Lloyd. He's actually not. He's actually pretty cool. I talk to him a lot, but I think his character is I'm a twat, and I think he loves that. But I think these guys are actually not too bad when you get to know them.
Yeah. Ronnie Coleman.
I'll never be as strong as him.
What have we got? I've got two English guys. Ian Harrison, because I remember him back in the day. Did he have any of these older guys like JD Dowadu or Ian Harrison play any part when you were coming up?
Not Ian, but I do see JD every now and then, and JD's very, very cool.
Has he still got those arms?
He's still pretty big, yeah. I think I saw him a few weeks ago, and he was still really big, and he's still very active. He still trains. He still trains at Muscleworks in London. Not the one I train at, but the original. And I think he's still very active. So, he's a cool guy.
The other one I was told was Dorian Yates, because there were a lot of similarities not long ago with you and Dorian. And it seems like the denser you're getting, the more people start to talk about it again. Yeah, I mean, I don't think my physique looks anything like his, to be fair. Yeah. I think it's the dense look of it. I think it's the density, and I have my back. It's not as good as his, but all the insertions are almost the same, and I train in a very similar fashion. I think that's kind of where it lies. Oh, hang on. Can I just leave for 2 seconds? Somebody at the door.
The dog's going nuts.
I wish this was live.
Lovely.
Hey, Jimmy.
Yo.
We haven't recorded.
Listen,
I'm asking Jimmy a question. Don't be rude. I was just about to congratulate him for getting engaged. No one knows. We haven't recorded since he's gotten engaged.
Oh.
And you two were the only one that didn't come to our party.
Why didn't I come?
I was sick as.
Yeah, Gally was sick. You were busy. You were doing that World Gym course.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah,
course.
Yeah.
He could have got out.
No,
sorry. Awesome.
We were just bitching about you behind your back while you were gone, saying how boring you are.
Yeah.
We should probably. I was going to ask you. Have you ever partied with Dorian?
No.
We have.
I've never met.
We have.
I have. Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
I remember. This is a good one. It was back. When was it? It was 2003 Olympia. I remember it because that was when Ronnie came out of nowhere, and we were in a club in Vegas. I can't remember the name of the club. And someone turned around and said, "There's Ronnie coming in. Dorian's come in the club with these big black sunnies on, with all these fitness girls around him. It was nuts."
Me and Jimmy saw him at a club in Sydney once after the fitness expo, and he came over to us, and we were just partying with him the whole night. And then he wanted to come back to the room with all the boys, and his manager pulled him aside and went, "You're not going with them. you're coming home." He's a funny guy. Hey, we've only got 45 minutes to record, so it gives us another 8 minutes or so. So we're just going to quickly run through some listener questions.
Okay.
I'm going to mention these guys' names because they've gone to the effort to actually post. You got to follow Aussie Muscle Asylum too on Facebook.
Is that group? 20 added to the group?
I might have added.
Oh
no, you just type it in and but you'll see some pretty funny content on there. There's a few pros from the States.
You got a lot of fans on there, Luke.
You do, yeah. Okay, Zane Hansard. How much higher do you think you will place than Nathan at the Olympia?
As long as it's above him, I don't really care.
Yeah, good answer.
I mean, I'd like to get fourth and he gets fifth. That'd be nice because then we're both in the top 5.
Yeah.
Ryan Hoff asks, will you ever get your hernia fixed? I didn't even know you had a hernia. You froze.
Anyone?
He's frozen.
Yes, because he's stunned by the comment. Ryan. Look what you've done, Ryan Hoff.
All right, guys, we've had a little bit of a technical issue. Luke's internet went to shit, and now we've lost Gally. I think he's passed away. We'll always remember him for being a good mate, and we appreciate the good times. Hopefully he'll be back. All right, let's go back to the listener questions. We were up to the hernia. So Ryan Hoff asked, will you ever get your hernia fixed? Like I said, I didn't even know you had it.
That is it fixed. That's not a hernia anymore. I had that done when I was 19 before I started training. That's a scar with and you can see the scar tissue underneath it. It's not actually a hernia. And I've had it. Wow. So if you look back to my very first show, it's the same then as it is now. It can't get worse. It's just that's the way it is. So for me to get it fixed now is cosmetic surgery, not hernia surgery.
Yeah.
Because so I've got. You can see I've got a scar right in the middle of my abdomen here, and then behind it is like this lump. It's like a weird like gristly lump behind it, which is the scar tissue from the gauze once they put it there. So
the tan must cover that up, mate.
You can't see it on stage. So you can see it in my progress pictures, or like, and you can see it when I'm posing in like natural light, but you can never see it on stage. Weirdly.
Gally, are you back?
Yep.
Bro, you're so close to the camera. You look like an old man trying to take a profile pic for Facebook.
No, my laptop just shut down. I don't know. So I'm on my phone.
Oh, mate.
I might go off it then. Just finish up.
No, stay there. We'll go through. You just look.
You're taking the piss now.
No, all I can see
my
is
whole
your
laptop just shut down.
It's fine. It's crazy. Relax. It's fine. Gavin Raimondi asks, how's Brutal Muscle going, and what are your long-term plans for it?
It's going really well. I mean, do you know what the problem with it is? Is actually trying to get pro bodybuilders to do what they've agreed to do is really fucking hard. So we'll have like 6 of them lined up and booked in for videos. Maybe 2 of them will actually go through with it.
Yeah, look, it's always sounds good in theory until you have to actually do the work, and then it's like, oh, fuck that.
It's not that we're doing the work. We're trying to offer these pros like we're going to pay you. And they're like, yeah, it sounds great. We'll do it next Thursday. And then you'll message them and be like, you still good? And they just don't reply. And then 2 weeks later, they're like, oh, yeah, sorry. It's like, for fuck's sake.
Hey, do one of your boys have a motor track behind you or something? There's a lot of background.
A helicopter just flew over.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully not water in the house because I'm dying.
Next question is a Shawn Rhoden question, so I'm not going to really answer that. A bloke posted twice, says that you look incredible, so...
Thanks very much.
Yeah,
twice.
He must really. I'm going to mention his name, Chris Newton. He'll probably get a boner over that.
Thanks, Chris.
Mitchell James, what has been the best training method for dense growth that you've been able to acquire over the last couple of years?
DC training.
Yeah, we've gone over that. What's your favourite training split, i.e. push, pull, legs, or one muscle group per session?
I prefer one muscle group per session. I've got a bit of an issue with push-pull legs. If you're not really advanced, I don't give a shit who the fuck you are and who you say you are. It doesn't work. Because my thoughts are, when you're a beginner, you cannot generate that amount of intensity in that little amount of sets. You're not using enough weight to actually stimulate enough growth on doing that like level of volume. I think if you're a beginner, doing a body part a day with more volume, and then the bigger and stronger you get, you need less volume, because you can generate more intensity and more load, then you can start going to push-pull legs. But then again, the problem with push-pull legs is everyone I know that does push-pull legs religiously has a load of weaknesses in their body parts and loads of holes in their physique. So, I think it's great for building mass overall, but I think when I did it, I noticed I had a lot of body parts missing, like my legs and arms didn't come up at all. So I'd start giving them their own day. I think push-pull legs, too many people are married to the idea of it rather than how effective it is in real life. I actually think every training method works. It just doesn't work as well for everyone. And I think people are too emotionally attached to ideas. Whereas, like, if you're doing push-pull legs and your legs still look like shit, why are you still doing it?
Yeah,
and there's so many people that like they keep asking me like, oh, what have you done to like? I know a lot of people do the upper lower split, which is fine. Like, oh, what have you done to your legs, or how have you managed to get your shoulders to come up? And it's like, well, I give it its own fucking day. And they're like, oh, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And then well don't then, and you'll just continue to have holes in your physique.
Toby Schultz. It's a strong surname, Schultz. How long until you think you'll be at the point where you're a top contender to take out Mr. Olympia? Do you have a plan?
I'd like to say by the time I'm 35, so that's 4 years.
Fuck, you're only 31.
Yeah, I'm 31 at the day of Tampa. So,
I mean,
so hopefully they'll give me a kid just for my birthday. That's what I'm hoping. Because I'm going to wear a massive badge that says it's my birthday. So the judge will look at me and be like, "Oh, we should just give it
Just
away."
take your
Just give him some.
put the number on your trunk. Just take that away and just put a happy birthday badge.
Exactly. That was what I'm going to do.
Do you know what makes you realise how long Gally and Jimmy we've been doing this? When we talk to pro bodybuilders now, like it used to be like when they used to tell us their age, we'd be like, "Oh yeah, I've still got 4 years. I can catch up to that guy's size." And
Yes.
but now we're all older than you, so it's fucked. Like, I'm 5 years older than you. I'm like,
I'm the granddad of this all.
you are 70.
Yeah, close to it.
Julian Bassan asks, what went wrong between Australia and Ohio Arnold's? Was it the long travel or...
Oh yeah, that was. I mean, nothing really went wrong. It was just it was so rushed and so stressful. We didn't land until 3 a.m. Thursday morning. So that was my fucked up I forgot you lose a day, and it was just really, it was my own fault for not organising the travel properly. So I mean, nothing went wrong. It was just the timing was all off. I mean, I literally had like 2 days to dry out. When I actually walked out on stage, I was sharper than I was in Ohio, but I just faded so bad. So yeah, it was just a timing error. If I was there for a bit longer, it would have been a bit better. I think also the heat wasn't particularly helpful because it was nice and cool in Ohio, so that helped because that's kind of what I'm used to. And then Australia was fucking boiling, and then I was just
It was bloody snowing in Ohio, wasn't it?
yeah, it was lovely. I was wearing shorts.
That's not boiling in Australia either, just so you know. Alex Grazzini asks, did Diasha sell you gear in the mail?
No. Well, I would never buy that. I mean, what he uses clearly isn't that good, is it? So I'd rather I'll just get my own things.
John McAleese. How much did you learn from Sarchev or Milos Sarchev during posing? Did he implement some changes?
Yeah, some. I mean, he didn't really change a lot. I mean, there was a couple of things that he helped you with that I've done in my progress pictures. Like my side tricep, something with my legs, I've now done. It looks a bit better. And my rear double, he changed a couple of little things. Apart from that, not much has really changed.
Ryan Gilmore asks, have you had any luck on Tinder during your prep? We've kind of gone over that, but what type of girls do you attract on Tinder? Like, how does it? Do you like? What do you strike? Bullshit. I reckon you've struck a conversation, you've met up with a girl, and you've taken her out.
It's fucking boring. It's like they'll always like their first message, like, "Wow, you're huge, like, brilliant, original."
Yeah, but have you met up with a girl from Tinder?
No.
I don't believe you.
Jimmy has.
Years
ago. Jimmy did.
Jimmy showed me Tinder for the very first time. I remember he went through a single phase and he showed me. We were sitting at a restaurant at Cronides, remember that? And we were having a flick through, and we're having a good time. Don't worry, don't act like you don't remember Jimmy.
Jimmy's like,
well, everyone's like, yeah, Tinder's great. It's so easy. No, it isn't. No, it's not. I'm just not very good at Tinder, so.
I'm a married man. I don't need to worry about that kind of shit. Thank God. Chance Lynch asks, when are you coming back to Oz?
I don't know. I mean, I'm hopefully going to come back next year. I don't know if I'll do the Arnold Australia again, just because the travel really fucked me up, because I just didn't have enough time. I think if I did it again, I would do Ohio, then fly straight from Ohio to Australia, and stay there for the 10 days. Did
you enjoy your time in Australia?
I didn't really get a chance to, because I was only there for 2 days, and then I flew home. The travel was to get there and back was longer than I was actually there for.
And I want to make a point when we talk about your popularity here in Australia, and it's not bullshit. When I was at the athlete meet and greet the day before the show, you and Josh had the longest lines there, which was awesome.
That was weird, wasn't it? That was cool. I think it's because Australian people kind of get it because I'm British and our humours are the same.
I think you take the time to talk to them too, which is a big thing, and you don't, as depleted as you actually are, you still can crack a joke and have a laugh. Because
it's fun. It's like, I don't understand why so many pro bodybuilders take this shit way too seriously. It's fun. You're like, I'm in a position to do this job, and it's like the dream job. I'm not going to just stand there and complain and cry about it, which is a lot of bodybuilders do. And it's like, I don't think they realise how lucky they are, to have this opportunity. So why be a dick about it?
Last question. What are your thoughts about Jeremy Bedina getting knocked out at a bodybuilding event? I just made that question up. I just literally it wasn't even asked. I just thought I'd
there was that video. I think I saw it this morning or last night. Didn't some kid knock him out in the gym?
Was it a kid?
It was in a club. In the club.
Oh, was it in a club? Was it?
Yeah, just.
I mean, it's been a long time coming, and I mean, I'm surprised that no one's just knocked him the fuck out at an expo before.
What's wrong with him? Like, seriously, like the last couple of years has been disastrous.
He's just a little dickhead, isn't he? He just really is. Just
so arrogant.
I've heard he's been banned from the IFBB Pro League now. I've heard that. He got dropped from sponsors. And I don't get it because he's just a little dweeb of a man. I remember seeing him, I think at the Arnold last year or the year before. And he walked into the gym and I was just like, this guy is fucking tiny. And he's got, I mean, like, I to the point where I don't even understand how he can possibly have such a big mouth because he is tiny. Like he must have balls of steel to back chat a lot of bodybuilders like the way he does.
Little man.
I'm surprised that no one's just wiped the floor with him. Just because, I mean, it's just a joke. I mean, he is just a little dickhead, isn't he?
He's done now.
Let's finish off just with one more question. Aaron Singerman's a good mate of ours on the show, and we've known him for a long time. So we want to know what are your plans with Redcon? What do you got coming up in the near future? And
just way too many videos.
Yeah,
I was actually considering potentially moving out to Florida. I'm not sure I'm going to, just because all my children are here, and I'm quite happy here. We'll see though. But yeah, I mean, Aaron's great. He's very, very accommodating. He's a great businessman. I learned a lot from him. So yeah, I mean, the plans are I'm just going to keep doing videos. I think we've just 4 weeks out from the Olympia, we're doing another series, which will be for Nick Strength and Power, which is going to be more of an actual documentary rather than what I've been doing, which will be quite cool. I don't know how that's going to work. So that'd be cool. Yeah. So yeah, just too much content.
Awesome. And we'll all be watching and looking forward to it. Look, we've taken up a lot of your time. I'm not sure if you boys have any other quick questions before we take off.
Oh, good.
Beautiful.
No, that was good. Yeah.
All right, brother. Lukey, thank you very much for coming on the show once again.
I appreciate you guys having me on again. It was good fun. If you ever want to do it again, just let me know. I'm more than happy to come back.
Yeah, well, we do this once a day, so if you're keen to be a regular.
I've actually done the podcast twice today because so you've had your 2 for 1.
Mate, we're true. But no, I can't remember the last time we did one. It's been a while. We've been very, very busy.
We have been slack.
Was that a real number? You've done 100 or have you done like 6?
Oh, no, we're 90. It's probably about 97 now.
Yeah, because I remember seeing you posted a shitload of them because I've done podcasts for a while and I think we did about 50 and that was a lot. So getting near 100, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, we've had some good guests. Like if you backtrack, we've had some really funny fucking interviews with some really cool guests there. Have a look at the one with Phil Heath. Arnie came on for one. Yeah, Arnold came on for one.
Luke, he's talking.
Lou Ferrigno, Hulk Hogan came on for just a random one.
I've done Dion. You've had Steve Owen on.
Steve Owen. Yeah. We did a Ouija board, and Steve Owen came on to just talk shit. But look,
like South Park with Stingray just hanging out of his head.
He did, yeah. You can see the vision of him. Like you can only see the reflection in the background. You know, like that cardboard cutout from that little kid from 3 Men and a Baby, that type of thing. Yeah. I'm glad you knew what I'm talking about. All right, let's wrap this up.
Right. Lukey, I feel like I've just pissed off every Australian, maybe. Sorry.
No, you can throw it.
It's only Queensland, mate. That's all that matters.
If it was an American thing, yeah, you'd probably get in trouble because they don't understand sarcasm at all. But here in Australia,
if you go to America and just say God's made up, you're gonna get shot. That's what I feel like it's in Australia. If I just came out and just kind of walked into the middle of Australia somewhere in a town and said Steve Owen's a dick, I just think I'm gonna get attacked. Well, it's like fucking. Like weapons are going to come out and like boomerangs flying at me out of nowhere. That's what I think would happen.
If you said Steve Owen's a dick, you probably wouldn't get anything. But if you did walk down the street and say, "Oh, how funny is it the time Steve Owen died?" then probably people will look at you and think that you're a bit of a weak cunt. So.
In fact, you know what? I've never seen an Australian pissed off before. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it ever happens, but you guys are always just like every time in Australia, everyone's just like, yeah. Fuck it.
Every single person on this panel right now, probably by yourself, has been arrested for intimidation. So,
I have. Yeah.
There you go. Well, there we go.
Okay.
We've all been pissed off.
No,
we're not.
Right, I'm going to get a meal in and then go train. But it was good to chat with you guys. Thank you again.
Thanks, Luke.
All the best in Tampa, Luke.
Sweet.
Good luck,
See you later.
See you, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you, bud.